Welcome back. Multnomah County Sheriff Mike Reese is stepping down at the end of December. He's term limited out. But before he goes, the former Portland police chief is tasked with making sure Multnomah County is ready for Measure 114, which goes into effect on December 8th. Again, Measure 114 will require a permit from local law enforcement to purchase a weapon. It would increase background checks and firearms training and would limit gun magazines to 10 rounds. Sheriff Mike Reese is here. He's the outgoing Multnomah County Sheriff. Welcome to Eye on Northwest Politics.
Ken, it's nice to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you as well. Several sheriffs in Oregon have said that they're not going to enforce aspects of Measure 114. How do you feel like about that in Multnomah County?
We're doing everything we can to prepare for implementation of Measure 114, working internally with staff to design processes for the new permits that are required to purchase firearms, talking to our stakeholders at the Oregon State Police and other vested parties, and how do we implement this as quickly as possible and make sure that we are supporting the rights of responsible gun owners in Multnomah County.
Are there any aspects of the measure that you're not comfortable with?
I think there's some uncertainty in how the process is going to work. We are still trying to figure out how do we have, as part of the permit process, this idea that you have a safety check, somebody that can verify that you know how to load, unload, and safely fire a firearm. So that's a new piece to the process that we're going to have to implement. We're still trying to determine how do we do that, who is responsible for conducting that training or confirmation of responsible gun owners. And then there's some uncertainty around some of the language. So there's a prohibition on giving a permit to someone who is a danger to self or others. That language needs to be clarified so that we are certain that we're doing everything possible to, through whether it's a court process or mental health, welfare checks, or whatever it is, to make sure that we are doing our very best to keep our community safe and also ensure that responsible firearm owners have the ability to purchase a firearm.
Are you seeing more people trying to buy weapons and ammunition ahead of when Measure 114 takes effect in December?
Well, I've read the stories that is the case. Of course, we're not involved currently in that process unless it's a concealed handgun license owner. But, I think there is uncertainty, and I'm going to ask for people's patience as we move forward with this new process. It may mean some additional delays in the permitting, and I'm going to just ask people to be patient as we staff up to meet the anticipated need.
Yeah, let's get more into that. What impact do you think this will have on staffing and resources in Multnomah County, and especially in the sheriff's office?
Well, as we begin new permitting processes, we're going to have to hire staff to probably very similar to our concealed handgun license program. We're going to have to hire staff to meet the needs of Multnomah County residents that desire a firearm permit. We don't know yet what that looks like and all of the steps involved in the process. As I said, we're working with Oregon State Police and stakeholders to determine what is required of the sheriff's office and police agencies as we step into this new work. So it remains to be seen how many staff and resources are going to be dedicated to this effort, but we're going to do everything we can to hire up to meet that need.
Do you think this will have any real impact on the level of gun violence that we're seeing in Multnomah County, especially in Portland?
I certainly hope so, and I think that's the reason voters implemented this measure. We have too many tragedies, too much gun violence in our community here in Multnomah County, in the city of Portland, and we're going to do everything we can to implement Measure 114 with the hope that it does reduce gun violence.
What else do you think needs to be done in that regard? Because it seems like whatever we've tried up to this point has not stopped the spread of this violence.
Gun violence comes in so many different forms, whether it's domestic violence, self-harm, you've got gang and group violence, and you've got criminals that are using firearms in the commission of crimes like robberies. I think each of those have different components to reduce gun violence that are necessary. Some of it we've implemented, and it takes time to make a difference in our community. Extreme risk protective orders, that's an example of where we can intervene maybe with somebody who is at risk of self-harm, and getting more family members, more community members aware of how to use that tool is one of the strategies that we are going to use as we move into the future.
As I mentioned at the beginning of this conversation, there have been a number of sheriffs, several sheriffs, mostly in rural communities, who have said they're not going to enforce certain aspects of Measure 114. What do you say to them? And is that something that they can legally do?
I think one of the values of having an elected sheriff is that we represent the constituents in our communities and the priorities that they have in those communities. Gun violence in Multnomah County is a top priority for us, and we're going to do everything we can to save lives and prevent more gun violence here in Multnomah County. In rural communities, they have different priorities. Gun violence may not be an issue for them. There may be other challenges that they're facing, and those sheriffs are dedicating limited resources to the priorities that matter most in those communities.
When you were elected sheriff in 2016, you stated that you wanted to restore trust in the office and improve the treatment of mentally ill people in the justice system. Has that happened?
Well, let the voters and the constituents here in Multnomah County determine whether or not they trust the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office. I believe that we've done amazing work in the last few years in building and maintaining trust with our deputy sheriffs and our corrections deputies and our non-sworn professional staff. I know that they take their oath of office and the work they do seriously, and their commitment to protecting and serving our community should be recognized and applauded, because it is challenging work in today's tumultuous times. Having said that, I've enjoyed my time as Multnomah County Sheriff, and I am just so grateful to the voters and the supporters of our office, and leave my time here with positive feelings and hopeful for the future of Multnomah County and our Sheriff's Agency.
We've got less than a minute now, but I just want to ask you about that. What are you going to do now? Are you actually retiring from law enforcement?
Well, my wife likes to say I fail retirement. I have another opportunity to move into the next stage of life. I'm going to take some time to travel and just decompress a little bit, and then come back and figure out what's next. I don't know what the future holds at this point.
Multnomah County Sheriff Mike Reese, thank you for joining me on Eye on Northwest Politics, and good luck trying to retire.
Ken, thank you. Take care.